In this video, we will analyze situations in which a man can completely fail in a relationship and turn into a nobody. This will happen if he forgives such situations, if he does not give the necessary, worthy response and resistance, if he ignores them, if he lets everything slide, if he does not bring it to the necessary consequences. Towards the end of the video, we will examine the most severe situations when a woman openly crosses the line and puts a man in a humiliating position. This will be the most hard-hitting and provocative ending, and at the very end, you will get a clear, practical algorithm on how to react to such situations in order to regain and maintain respect. Give a like, and let's begin. I often see how a man tells me, "There was nothing extreme. I never forgave anything like that in a relationship. There were no secret chats, no cheating, and I didn't really simp that much." So how did it come to the point where I was simply no longer respected, no longer taken into account? Today, I will go over some of these situations. These are the moments that men often do not notice and do not recognize as dangerous. We will not talk about the obvious cases, when a woman cheats and is forgiven, when she is caught messaging other men, when she creates obvious chaos, raises her hand, shouts, humiliates. That's all clear. Such things should never be forgiven. To forgive that is to completely devalue yourself in her eyes. But there are equally dangerous moments that men misunderstand and as a result erase themselves. They erase themselves as men. The first situation is our favorite, PMS or menstruation. When suddenly during those days a woman begins to unleash all her demons. She allows herself to insult a man, raise her hands, run her mouth, throw tantrums, blame him, manipulate with guilt, terrorize, completely losing control. And suddenly, it turns out that menstruation is such a special period when a woman can do anything. In reality, that's a lie. That's complete nonsense. There is no period in life when a woman is incapable of controlling her behavior. It simply does not exist. The same woman on the same days knows perfectly well how to keep herself in check when talking, for example, to her friends, to her boss, or to some man she likes. But with you, she unleashes all her dogs. Shouts, hisses, takes offense, raises her hands, allows herself anything she wants. And what's characteristic? Just 5 minutes later, she can be sitting sweetly chatting with another person. What does this mean? It means that with you, it's allowed. She has given herself permission for rudeness and aggression, hiding behind the myth that hormones are off the charts and I can't control myself during her period. But in fact, she can. She has just decided that she doesn't need to with you. This must never be forgiven. Remember, no menstrual cycle is an excuse for such behavior, because as soon as the boss calls, as soon as her mother or a friend calls, the same woman who was just a fury next to you instantly transforms into a completely different person. In other words, she can control herself, but not with you. With you, she doesn't have to. She will protect others. She will not allow herself such behavior with others. She loves, values, and respects others. She is afraid of losing her relationships with them. But your relationship, no. That means you are not valuable to her, not dear to her. She can unload all this onto you, take it out on you, vent her anger, spill her negativity, and therefore, if you leave such situations without consequences, it means digging your own grave as a man, a grave for your male dignity, because it will only get worse from here. The next situation I have often seen in consultations, a woman's drunken antics. And during these drunken episodes, she does something, then says, "Well, I wasn't in control, I was drunk. I just had too much to drink, that's all. In everyday life, I'm normal." In her logic, this should be understood and forgiven. In reality, no. It should neither be forgiven nor understood. Here's one situation. My client, a young man, started dating a girl. She was great in every way, well-groomed, beautiful, sweet, attentive, perfect demo mode. He decided to introduce her to his family, his relatives, and brought her into his circle for the first time. There was a gathering, friends, relatives, parents, and what did she do? She got drunk. She got drunk and started behaving outrageously, knocked plates off the table, began to pick fights, cause chaos, make a scene. Then, of course, she burst into tears. And in the end, he was the one at fault. Why? Because according to her, he didn't take her away in time. He allowed others to ask her questions. He allowed someone to treat her the wrong way. He didn't stop it, didn't comfort her, didn't caress her. And above all, why wasn't he on her side? Why wasn't he supporting her? The next situation is also from practice. A client says he brought the girl he was dating to a gathering of friends. She again pulled a drunken stunt, started insulting him, picking on him, and then literally kicked him in the backside. She actually gave him a boot in front of everyone. Can you imagine how humiliating that is for a man? Then she went all out and caused a real scene. She overturned a table full of food, threw something at someone, and then vomited right there on herself and on the people around her. Apologies for the details, but the fact remains the fact. And what do you think happened? My client ended up being blamed. According to her, he should have taken her side, led her away in time, understood that evil people were deliberately getting her drunk. He was obliged to always be her protector, to carry her out of this fire in his arms and to save her. In the end, he was the one left holding the bag. Moreover, she said a lot of nasty things to him and then blocked him everywhere. And then he came to me with a question. How is that possible? She was such a good person. It was just a drunken stunt. I tried to explain to her that it was inappropriate, that I felt ashamed of her. And now all my friends and acquaintances look at me sideways and say, "Who did you even bring? What was that?" And she says to me in return, "So other people's opinions matter to you, but the fact that I was good before this doesn't matter." Men often get lost in such situations. They think, well, fine, nothing terrible, and leave it without consequences. Big mistake. Here's another case. A married man came to a consultation and said, "My wife drinks and something wild awakens in her. She starts flirting with other men, dancing provocatively, behaving disgracefully. The moment I make a remark or try to pull her away from someone, immediately a scandal, instantly yelling. She might hit me in the face, flip me off, or tell me to go to hell. It always ends the same way. Tears in the morning and excuses. Well, you know I'm a silly drunk. I didn't mean anything. I love you, and you should have taken me away, carried me, not interfered and understood." And again, forgive and forget. These drunken antics are often justified by women with, well, I was drunk. And men write it off to alcohol, starting to live in constant control mode, watching every glass, every shot, keeping a hand on the pulse. Here's my first question. Are you ready to live like this for the rest of your life? Who are you to her, daddy, nanny, or addiction counselor? You go out not to relax, but to monitor her. You don't unwind, even in places made for relaxation. Absurd. You have to understand, alcohol always removes the mask. A person can pretend for years, but alcohol disinhibits, removes inner restraints, and then the true face comes out. If a woman hates you but hides it under alcohol, that hatred will burst out and intensify. If she's sad, it will get even sadder. If she's angry, she'll be 10 times angrier. Alcohol is like litmus paper that multiplies by 10 whatever is inside a person. If a woman is happy and loves you, under alcohol, she'll become even softer and more affectionate. But if there's resentment, aggression, or contempt stored inside, they will come out in full. Why men forgive, this is a mystery to me. Many are astonishingly lenient. Well, she was drunk. As if the fact that a woman can allow herself cheating, insults, or humiliation under this pretext doesn't matter. And then comes the eternal excuse. My baby would never do that if evil people didn't pour her a drink. The truth is, if she is capable of doing it while drunk, it's already in her. Alcohol just unlocks the door it's hiding behind. Of course, there are times when a woman tries to write everything off to drunkenness. Well, I drank, I don't remember. And that's it. Topic closed. But such situations cannot be left without consequences. Men often just wave it off, think, fine, let's forget it, and don't know how to respond. Big mistake, because today she justifies rudeness with alcohol. Tomorrow, it's cheating, and the day after, anything she wants. Here's another situation I often see, when a woman undermines the father's authority in the eyes of the children. Dad says, "Today's training." The child doesn't want to go, and mom immediately, "Tell him your stomach hurts." Dad says, "Only an hour of computer time after homework." Mom, "Oh, go ahead, play as much as you want." Dad is against buying a preschooler an iPad. Mom goes and buys it anyway. Sometimes it gets critical. A 13-year-old girl is forbidden by her father to have sleepovers at boys' houses. And while the father is away on a business trip, the mother calmly allows it. The result, he comes home to find a boy spending the night in his underage daughter's room. And mom justifies it with, "I don't want to be the enemy to her." I want us to be friends. In reality, she's buying cheap authority by trashing the father's authority. Such things cannot be ignored. Otherwise, sooner or later, you'll lose respect not only from the woman, but also from your own children. Another story, when a woman in a group of friends starts mocking you, criticizing you, telling others things that were said privately, or making below-the-belt jokes, and all this under the cover of, oh, well, I was drinking, or what's the big deal? Truth hurts, doesn't it? This is a direct sign of disrespect, and it must also have consequences. Another unacceptable thing, when a woman takes your relationship public. Every argument, every word is dissected with her mother, girlfriends, colleagues, or even the neighbor by the entrance. And of course, not in the form of dry facts, but through her personal interpretation. In such relationships, you're no longer a couple, but a member of an entire committee. Your opinion means nothing, because there's always the girlfriend's counsel to decide what's right. And then you show up at her workplace and the entire office already knows about yesterday's argument and smirks at you. All these are exactly the kinds of situations that must never be forgiven. They must always be followed by clear and tangible consequences, so they never happen again. Another point that men often swallow without question is what's called public devaluation. This happens when a woman allows herself in front of others to put you in an awkward or humiliating position, not as a light joke, but in a way that makes everyone laugh at you, not with you. For example, at a dinner with guests, you start telling a story and she interrupts, yes, we've heard this 100 times already, or, oh, he has such an imagination, don't take it seriously. The room laughs and you smile, but inside, cracks begin to form. At that moment, she just showed everyone. He's not a leader. He can be interrupted. He can be belittled. It gets even worse when this happens in front of your parents or boss. I know a case where a woman, sitting at the table with her husband's parents, responded to his words with, "You can't do anything without me, not even pick a shirt." The parents laughed nervously, but in their eyes was a clear signal. The son is no longer a man, just a boy in the woman's presence. Next comes control through shame. This is when a woman publicly or in a group of friends ridicules your weaknesses, habits, or tastes. He can't dance at all. He sits in the garage for hours like an old man, and he's afraid of flying. All presented as jokes, but in reality, it's slowly undermining your authority. Another common scenario is demonstrative ignoring. You ask her a question. She's on her phone, texting, laughing at memes, not even looking up. You repeat the question. She says, "Just a second." And this can go on indefinitely. Yet when she needs you to hear her, everything must happen instantly. Or social provocations. When a woman openly flirts with another man in front of you, at a party, in a restaurant, even among friends. It doesn't have to be overt, just a look, gesture, or tone is enough, all under the guise of, "You imagined it, I was just talking, you're jealous, don't invent things." In reality, it's a test, how far she can go to provoke a reaction and how you will respond. The most dangerous part of these situations is if you respond with laughter, silence, or pretend nothing happened. Any silent consent signals, "I can do this to him," and tomorrow the boundaries will be pushed even further. Here we return to the key principle. Any devaluation, any boundary violation must have consequences. Not through shouting, not through mutual insults, but calmly, clearly, and coldly, so that she understands there is a price for such behavior and it must always be paid. One of the trickiest situations is undermining decisions. You make a choice, agree, discuss, and she quietly does the opposite. You say, "Let's postpone the purchase for now." She orders it anyway. You agreed to spend the weekend together. She already bought tickets with friends. This isn't mere disagreement. It's a demonstration. Your decisions mean nothing to me. There's another form, undermining through third parties. You negotiate something directly, and then she calls your mother, sister, or family friend and starts changing the decision through them. It's subtle manipulation because you feel obliged to agree. After all, everyone thinks it's better this way. Next comes emotional blackmail. She threatens to leave, pack her things, disappear forever. Not as a real intention, but to get the outcome she wants. Men often fall for this because they want to avoid conflict. But once you give in, this tool becomes her favorite. A separate topic, control through money. Even with separate budgets, a woman can constantly hint that you must pay for her expenses. "You're the man" becomes justification for any request, from a new phone to a vacation with friends. Refuse, and she might say, "So, I don't matter to you." Then there's demonstrative independence. She emphasizes that "I'm fine without you." She goes on a trip without warning, spends an evening with people you learn about by accident. It's not about freedom. It's a message. You are not the center for me, and I can live as I want. If you swallow this without reaction, next time she will test boundaries even harder. Equally dangerous is devaluing achievements. You accomplish something, achieve a goal, and instead of support, she finds fault. Bought a car? Well, the color is odd. Got a promotion? Now you'll be home even less. It's subtle, but it kills the desire to put effort into the relationship. There's also unfavorable comparison. When a woman says, "Well, Katya's husband," or "Masha's husband," and then lists everything she thinks you don't measure up to. Often presented as seemingly harmless conversation, but in reality, it systematically instills the thought that you are worse than others. In all these cases, there's a common thread. If you allow a woman to do this without consequences, she will not only stop respecting you, she will stop seeing you as a man worth taking seriously. Now we are moving into a tough and highly provocative section. Those situations where a man must respond firmly. Otherwise, he risks losing himself completely. The first situation is public humiliation disguised as a joke. This occurs when she, looking directly into the eyes of your friends or colleagues, makes statements like, "He's like a retiree in bed." "He can't make any decisions on his own. I do everything for him." Or, "If it weren't for me, he would have starved to death." She laughs, everyone around nervously chuckles, and you sit there clenching your teeth. But understand this, it is not a joke. It is a deliberate act of devaluing your masculine image in front of others. The second situation is provoking a fight. This happens when a woman deliberately flirts or teases other men in your presence with the aim of creating a conflict, especially in bars, at parties, or in social gatherings where alcohol is involved. She won't stop, even if she sees you are already at your limit. And then, if you respond, she will say, "What's wrong with you? It was just a joke." The result? You either look like the aggressor or like a pushover. In either case, respect is lost. The third situation is open demonstration of neglect in daily life. Not as a one-time expression of dissatisfaction, but systematically. Eating at the table absorbed in her phone, ignoring your greeting, not looking up when you enter the room. This is a signal. You are not important to me, not even on a basic human level. The fourth situation is devaluing your achievements in front of loved ones. For example, you got a promotion and share it with your parents or friends, and she inserts comments like, "Sure, but now he'll be at work all the time and won't do anything at home," or "He just got lucky." In this way, she ensures that your accomplishments lose significance both for you and for those around you. The fifth situation is open lying about you, when she distorts events in front of others to make you appear guilty or foolish. This could involve minor things, claiming you forgot to do something when you actually did, or saying you got drunk when you didn't drink at all. Publicly stated lies are not mere words. They are a direct attack on your authority. The sixth situation is physical humiliation, and this is not only slaps or pushes. It can be demonstrative shoving, kicking, throwing objects at you, spilling drinks on you. Many men respond with laughter to avoid escalating the situation, but in doing so, they allow it to happen again and again. The seventh situation is revealing intimate details. She may hint at personal matters in front of friends or even on social media, describing them mockingly. This strikes at the deepest level of trust, and forgiving such behavior opens the door for any boundary to be crossed next. The eighth situation is threatening to leave at the most vulnerable moment. When you are facing problems at work, with health, or in your family, she suddenly says, "I'll think about whether I should even be with you." This is not a real intention to leave, but a way to crush you while you are weakened. The truth in all these cases is clear. If you do not set firm boundaries and make it understood that consequences will be immediate and tangible, she will stop seeing you as a man. And then it will no longer be a relationship, but a one-sided game in which you are just a statistic. And finally, I will introduce you to a clear, practical algorithm for responding to such situations in order to regain and maintain respect. Conclusion. Men often endure these things not because they enjoy them, but because they are afraid of destroying the relationship. It may seem that if you stay silent, everything will settle down. In reality, things only get worse. Respect diminishes, boundaries blur, and the woman begins to see you as a backdrop on which she can play her games without consequence. The main mistake is trying to wait it out or avoid provoking her. By doing so, you are essentially confirming it's okay to treat me this way. And a woman quickly becomes accustomed to the fact that violations of your boundaries come at no cost. Response algorithm. Immediate acknowledgement. There is no need to create a scene or start an argument. Simply show in the moment that you noticed the violation. A calm, direct look and a short phrase such as "stop" or "this won't do." This alone signals that you will not tolerate the situation. Emotion-free discussion. Discussion should not happen during the conflict, but later, once emotions have cooled. Focus on facts. Today, in front of everyone, you said, "That was humiliating for me." Avoid words like "maybe," "I think," or "it seemed to me." Be precise. Clear boundary setting. You need to say directly, "This will not happen again. If it does, it will have consequences for our relationship." No threats, but a clear understanding of the consequences. Consequences in action. If a violation occurs again, act. This could mean refusing to attend events together, creating distance in communication, or even temporary separate living arrangements. Any action that demonstrates you are serious. Consistency. If you let something slide once without consequences, all prior words lose meaning. Boundaries only work when you enforce them consistently. Do not justify yourself. A woman may accuse you of cruelty, lack of love, or coldness. Do not react to this. Defending your dignity does not require explanations. Willingness to walk away. If the behavior is systemic and the person does not respect you even after warnings and consequences, be prepared to leave. Without this readiness, all conversations about boundaries become empty words. Key thought: respect in a relationship is not the result of beautiful words, gifts, or patience for love. It is the result of your actions, showing that you have principles and you defend them. Only this way can you preserve yourself as a man, maintain respect, and build a relationship where you are valued, not used as a silent spectator in someone else's game. Thank you to everyone who liked and subscribed to the channel. What do you think about this? Share your thoughts in the comments and see you in the next video.